long as you pay. It's so good to be so bad. You can leave it when you walk away and pretend you've washed your hands of it. Last call for the Sunday squaws, and there's no room left for ham and haw. We'll give a gift long overdue and make a sultan out of you. That's right, yeah, any troglodyte can have a life in the party as a socialite. Or if you're looking to face, you can retire without a trace. Don't you bother with doubt. Hey, it's a cry you can't contain, a release you couldn't estimate. In the secret, safe as long as you pay. It's so good to be so bad. You can leave it when you walk away and pretend you washed your hands of it. Long was this road I've wandered, but short did my temperance live. Here I've helped him build a temple to deify the sorrow of sin. Now who to blame but I for tying these not so well at my wrist? The noose would surely find me if I'm too wily. But what of the life I live? The sail of a soul that falls, as foolish as young Esau. It's better if I withdraw. Hey, it's a cry you can't contain, a release you couldn't estimate. And the secret says as long as you pay. It's so good to be so bad. You can leave it when you walk away and pretend you washed your hands of it. Gears turning that no wrench can attack. Consideration of pause had their time come and pass. No gloves, but you can't get enough. Make a fine parade so the public sways in your wake. And I just thought that I would go to the money gone. I never wanted to fake it. Now I can't
How's it going? Alright. Let's get started. So, I don't know if you saw my parts list or Facebook or whatever. Ah, fuck, I just knocked my video capture. Anyway, so I got a Thermaltake Core V1 Mini case. I've got Ryzen 5 3600X processor. I've got MSI B450i Gaming Plus AC. It was probably the cheapest board that wasn't a piece of shit and had all the features I wanted. And there's something important about using Ryzen 3000 with B450 and older chipsets that I'll have to show. So I'll do in just a moment here. And then for the graphics card, got an RX 580 8GB. Pretty old now, but still pretty good, especially for VR. I've got a Western Digital Blue SN550 NVMe SSD. It's 1 terabyte, so lots of room for games. And DDR4 3200 CL16, a 16 gig kit of RAM, which we're going to overclock to 3600, hopefully CL16, and I'll show you how. And finally, for cooling the CPU in this tiny case, I've got an Noctua NH-D9L, which is a pretty beefy cooler in a small form factor. Obviously, I can't fit something like a Noctua D15 in this small case. So what we're going to do is unbox this case and take a look at it. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, the power supply didn't show up. Thanks, Amazon. So I'm reusing another one that I have right now. It's a Thermaltake 750 watt semi-modular gold power supply. It's pretty old, but it still works. So I'm just going to use it for now. I booked my game capture again. I have the game capture set up so I can show you what I'm doing on screen. I was testing it with Smash, and it seemed to be working okay, although the cable's really finicky. So that's going to be fun. One thing I'm just going to quickly do is go put a towel in front of the door so people don't bitch and whine. Because that's almost guaranteed. Oh, that's the receipt. Okay. Yeah, I will be right back. I'm just going to put a towel in front of the door. Alright. God, this thing is tiny. I do have a multi-camera setup just so that I can get best angle. I am by no means a professional media creation guy. I don't have good terms for that, so yeah, media creation guy. So this is our case for this build, and it's tiny. Yeah, you could fit something like a 1080 Ti in here and it could still breathe. So I'm just going to take all the panels off right now. Booty hole. Have you heard of the organization called Imagine? What is that? Please explain. I don't want to get tricked into saying something that could get me suspended on Twitch. Wait, even the bottom comes off. That's wild. So I'm just putting all the screws behind me. Ha ha, very funny. I bet you were a real laugh in school. I hope you have a better day. Okay, so that's the bottom panel off, and one of the side panels. So as I've said other places before, I've never done an SFX build. I've never done a small form factor build. I've always done towers. I did a LAN box once, and that was really nice, although the cable management was a giant pain in the ass. So we're gonna see how this goes, because this case uses a full-size power supply, like regular ATX power supply, and ITX motherboard. So not micro ATX, not regular ATX, mini ITX, which as far as I know is the smallest kind of board you can get at this point. It's like twist tie and some paperwork, bunch of screws. Let's take a quick look at the manual and see what it suggests. Oh, my microphone's going all over the place. Hey, Patrick. I hope that's better. Doesn't look like it. Where the fuck did my phone? Oh, there it is. What's going on here? Okay, nothing really going on. Okay, so I'm just double checking the manual to see if it has any special instructions. If there's anything I need to be wary of. So CPU cooler height, it says, is 140 millimeters. And I'm pretty sure that it's below that. Yeah, 110. So we're good. And then the graphics card is supposed to be less than 250. It should say on here. But I'm not surprised that it doesn't. Okay. And then this front panel also comes off just by tugging at it. And there's the big 200 millimeter fan, or 20 centimeter, I think. So we got all these cables from the case that go to the motherboard. So these are for like the power button, the fan, the audio connector, and USB. For now, I'm just going to route them below the motherboard. And it looks like on this side, we've got our two hard drive bays. So one hard drive can go here, one hard drive can go here, which I'll probably do at some point. Don't really care to right now. I'm just wondering how easy that's going to be to get out. Let me just imagine. Oh yeah, I could still get that out even after I install motherboard. I could still get to the screws. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll try and get a better view as we go on. So right now, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to bring my power supply over here, and I'm just going to hook it up and get it ready because I want to make sure that that the motherboard I got is going to be compatible with the 3600 right out of the box. Because if it's not compatible out of the box, then we have to do a BIOS update, and that's going to take a little more time. box. We've got our I/O shield, which goes on the back of the case. I'll show you in a little bit. And then the Wi-Fi antennas, because this board has Wi-Fi. The only other thing we're going to need out of this box is the screw. And that's for the little M2 drive. And again, the M2 drive is that tiny little 1 terabyte stick that I've got. And the actual size of it, I think it's 80 millimeters. Like this is the actual drive right here. It's tiny. There's a terabyte on this of super fast solid state storage. It's absolutely crazy. So I've got the motherboard on an anti-static bag, or the one it came in right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to place the processor in. Oh, Jesus. Just about lost it. I'm going to put the processor in, and we're going to try booting it, and see if we get a video output. So there's a fan in the box. The box is much bulkier than the processor for this reason, because all we need is this little guy here that's on the side. Because I bought a separate fan, we do not need the one that's in the box. You could keep it for another machine or sell it if you wanted. They usually don't go for a lot of money unless you got the RGB one. That one generally goes for, I think, $60. Let me see if I can get a better view here. This is gonna be crotch cam, but I can't think of any other way to do this. Video. Laptop cam. Transform fit. Yeah, that lighting is garbage. I don't know if that's even gonna be useful at all. But, you know what, we'll give it a try. Just gonna move that down so you can still see that. So I've got the processor here, and to install AMD processors, you want to keep in mind there's a little, like a triangle or a dot on the corner of the processor. It's probably not going to show very well, but in my case the little dot is right here. And so you want to match that dot with the arrow that's on the motherboard. And that's going to be damn near impossible to see. But in my case it's right here. Yeah, the arrow is on this part of the motherboard. So you want to match those up, and that'll tell you exactly where the processor needs to go. So then you flip this latch up that's on the side. You push it to the side a little bit and then flip it up. You then drop the processor in, take 0 force, you don't need to push it or anything, and then you just flip the latch back down. Your processor's now installed. That's dead simple. And what I'm gonna do, because I'm not sure if this is going to work yet, is I'm going to take the cooler off this other motherboard. Just a simple, dinky little cooler. I'm going to install it on this processor just to make sure it'll boot. Because if it doesn't boot, then we need to do a BIOS update. So what I'm doing is I'm just rotating the cooler so I don't pull the CPU out. Because this is pin-based, it's just being held in by pressure. And there we go. I did not pull up the processor. So now I'm just going to install this cooler on this board. And I'm okay with reusing the thermal paste just because I am just purely testing right now. I am not permanently installing this. So I've got the latches on both ends. For an AMD motherboard right out of the box, there's these 2 latches on either side of the processor, and you gotta lock the cooler in. And then there's usually a flip thing like this that holds it in place. I'm bad at words, but basically if you're not sure, you can always check the manuals that they come with because they're very descriptive for the most part. And to even get the machine to boot, I do need to install the RAM. It's just a moment. All the way over here. And to be perfectly honest, you should be doing this in a static-free environment, but I am lazy and cheap, so that is not happening right now. So if you're building, preferably you want to do it not in a carpeted area. You want to have like a grounding strap of some kind. So here are the two RAM sticks that I have. These are the G-Skill Ripjaws 3200 megahertz cast latency 16. And RAM sticks, at least as far as DDR1, are made so that they only go one way. There's a notch that's off-center. It's off-center, so you cannot put it in the wrong way. It'll only go in the right way. And you do need sometimes what some of my friends have called an uncomfortable amount of pressure to put these in. You basically line them up in the slots after you open up the one side. Sometimes the other side will open up as well, but these ones are locked in place. Now you just press them in until they click. There we go. And then the other stick. So again, I'm just slotting it in right in the center, and then pressing down evenly on both sides. So that's clicked into place. Okay, so we got the RAM, got the CPU in. Remember, this is just a temporary cooler. We're installing that Noctua one. What I want to do now is install the SSD. So I need my toolkit that I place conveniently out of the way. Hang on. There we go. I guess I should say, if you want to build your own computer, most of what you need is literally just a Phillips 1 and a Phillips 0 size screwdriver. That's really all you need. For some things you want a bit of a bigger handle on your screwdriver, because some things are hard to tighten up with something like the older iFixit screwdriver. So something like this is really, really good. But for Phillips 0 screws, like for the SSD here, you really don't need anything too fancy. So we're going to take this SSD out of the box. And to tell the truth, I did previously install Windows on this drive just to make sure everything was working okay. But I'm going to go through the entire process as long as my capture device is working, just so I can show you step by step how to install Windows, what I do when I get the drivers, and so on. So I'm gonna put the stick here for a second. I'm gonna put the box away. See if I can get up close again. So on this motherboard specifically, the M2 slot is at the back of the motherboard. Usually it is on the front. And so these drives are only meant to fit one way. Generally they should not be reversible, but just make sure that usually as long as the label is up, then you're okay. So you usually start at an angle, I wiggle it in, and it'll flip up like that. Then I get my screw. It was just in a little baggie that came with the motherboard. Tiny little screw. And you don't want to lose this, because there usually are not extras. So I'm just going to stick it there. I press it down slightly. I'm not putting much pressure on it. And then I just install the screw right there. So that is now our storage installed, and that's going to stay there. We're done with that. So now we have the SSD, the RAM, and the CPU, and a temporary cooler installed. What I need now is a temporary graphics card, because the 3600 does not have internal graphics. The Ryzen 5 3600 does not have internal graphics. So the only reason I'm using this card is to test that I get a video output and to make sure that this CPU will work without a BIOS update. And I just slot it in with an even amount of pressure, and there's a little latch on the end where the graphics card gets locked in, so I can't just yank it out. It's still stuck in there. So when you're removing a graphics card, you gotta push that latch down, and it'll come free. So just be aware of that latch, otherwise you'll rip up a PCI Express slot, which I've seen happen. It's not pretty. I'm not naming any names. Okay, so we're gonna go back to the TV cam. And there. I'm gonna see how far down I can put this. Yeah, it's not great, but you know, it'll be fine. So I'm just hooking up the power to the motherboard. There's a 24-pin cable. It's a big bastard. It'll only go in one way. They're notched and keyed so that they will only go one way. And then here's my CPU 8-pin. Sometimes you'll just have a 4-pin if your power supply is not that strong. And in some cases that's okay. Not every case. So we've got all the power we need. It's plugged in. I just flipped the switch, and we have no lights on the motherboard yet. Yeah, this camera is not gonna... Yeah, basically, I have everything plugged in right now. Power supply is plugged in. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna short a couple pins on the motherboard, which I do not recommend if this is your first time. I'm just experienced. Still would not recommend. I gotta look for the front panel header so that I can start the machine. There we go, so I just started it up, and I forgot to hook up the graphics. I'm getting a white light, so it should be okay. Okay. Okay, that's good news. Look at that. The BIOS is already up to date. This is beautiful. All right, let me grab my keyboard. And then I need a flash drive. So we're just gonna go into the BIOS right now. I'm gonna go into setup by pressing F1. Where's the CPU info? It's not showing up here. CPU ID and microcode. Alright, so I'm probably still gonna need to update the BIOS anyway. I'm just gonna prop the cam up again. So what I'm gonna do Sorry, this is so scuffed. This is my first time doing something like this. So what we're gonna do my buddy Lindsay says, don't drop stuff like your Linus. I just about did. So what we're gonna do is go here. Hopefully you can see what I'm seeing right now. We're gonna go to google.ca. I'm gonna search for MSI B450i Gaming plus AC. I'm gonna go to MSI's website, and then there should be a section that says support. So I'm going to click support, and then under BIOS it'll have the latest versions. This one was released in 11th and 12th. And the version we have is E7A40AMS. So I'm just going to see if that's the same version, because I think it might be. E7A40AMS. Okay, so yeah, this already has the latest BIOS update. Gonna turn that back off. Okay, so we're pretty much good at this point. Overclocking. Memory is running at 2133 right now. So we'll try 3200, see if that works. But luckily we do not have to update the BIOS. It's just good to go out of the box. So I'm gonna go back to this camera, and we're gonna start installing parts in the case. I'm just gonna shut off the power supply. So all we were doing was just verifying that the CPU works in there. Now we can move on. That saves me about 20 minutes. That's cool. So I'm going to take this cooler off now. Flip the latch. Just comes off. I've already got the RAM installed, so RAM and SSD are installed, so I can pretty much just wipe this off and start installing the bracket for the cooler. Just wiping it off with a paper towel. You don't really need anything fancy. Although there are other things you can use if you want to avoid static, but again, if you're wearing a wrist strap, you should be perfectly fine. So we're going to be opening the box for the Noctua cooler right now. I've never installed this one in particular, but I've dealt with the Noctua NHU14S and the D15 and the D15S. All very great coolers. And so one of these papers is going to tell me exactly what parts I should be using. So this one is labeled AMD. I'm doing an AMD build, so obviously I want to use this guide. It's telling me to remove the stock retention plate, those little plastic bits. I need the gray spacers for AM4. AMB8, okay. So I'm just setting aside the parts that I need for this cooler. And then I'm gonna leave the rest in the box, because I can reuse this in the future on any Intel builds or another AMD build. It's good to keep spare parts around. So 4 gray spacers, and then 4 of these screws. And so I'm not installing the complete cooler yet, I'm just installing the mounting bracket. Because generally you want to install the cooler when the motherboard is mounted in the case, depending on what kind of cooler you use. Because it can be a real pain in the ass if you try to do it later, or it can be a real pain in the ass if you try to do it earlier. It all just depends on what you have. And this other stuff that it came with is some Noctua thermal paste, and a badge, and a silence thing. I'm not really going to worry about that, because we have our own thermal paste. So So I got everything I need out of the top accessory box. And then I can try and get this thing out. They pack these boxes so tight sometimes. How am I supposed to open this? I'm just pulling them apart. You need to watch this for your build? Yeah, no problem. I'm trying to be as detailed as I can, just to help people. Oh my god, this is tiny! Holy, look at that. It's my hand, and then here's the cooler. And this thing can dissipate up to, I think, 150 watts worth of processing power. So you could run, you could technically run a 3900X if you're not boosting it. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd recommend something like an AIO water cooler for that, but it is something you could do. I got this cooler specifically because it's going to be a lot better at dissipating heat than the stock cooler that came with it. Really don't need anything fancy, so I went for kind of fancy, kind of not. And just the fin stacks are really, really dense. Noctua is known for making really, really good products over the years. And to be honest, I'm kind of a Noctua fanboy. Although I would like to get back into the water cooling game. I haven't done that in quite a few years. No, last year. Last year was when I stopped. How's it going, Instante? My hair's all over the place. Damn. Okay, so are the mounting holes all here? Yes, they are. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in the I/O shield. You can put this in if you want. I like to. There are some people and some builders that don't like to use the I/O shield. I just think it makes it look nicer, regardless of what anybody thinks. And if you need help figuring out where it's supposed to go in the case, just kind of like bring your board up to the case and kind of imagine where it would go. Because like on here, the mouse port and the USB ports and the HDMI are all on the left side. It's not reversed. Like, usually if you have it the wrong way, your board will only mount upside down, and that just doesn't make sense. You just working still? That's cool. Can I have some more Coke Zero? Keeping hydrated and having caffeine at the same time. I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I remember I said I was going to do the mounting stuff. So actually let's do that. Benefits of having ADD. I just always forget what the fuck I'm doing. Okay, so let's go back to this cam again. TV cam. Not top cam. Yeah. Okay. So for this cooler, I'm required to get rid of the mounting bracket that it comes with. So that's these two plastic bits here, and they're held in by 4 screws. And again, I'm doing this on an anti-static bag. This is not the best way to do this. I am just cheap and lazy. So 2 screws out, 2 left. That's all 4 screws and both retention brackets. One thing to keep in mind if you need to install a cooler that requires you to take out the stock brackets that comes with, if you pull up your motherboard, you're going to lose the back bracket. You need to make sure that this is on, otherwise your third-party cooler will not install. So just make sure that it's installed, lay it flat, and you should see these sticking out. Okay, so I'm just trying to imagine it here. Okay. So we're going to be pushing airflow through the back because we already have a fan at the front. We already have a fan at the front of the case that's intaking air. And then we got nothing else, no other fans in the machine yet. So we're just going to have the airflow continue through to the back of the machine. You can choose to mount some coolers up and down, or like vertical or horizontal, like sometimes you have a choice. One of my last machines, I had my Noctua U14, I had it going vertical because I had a giant fan on the top of the machine. So I got the gray spacers on the board, and I've got the metal bracket. I'm just putting in the screws and just finger tightening them a little bit. This may be a little hard to see, but I'll show you the finished product in just a moment. So I'm just going to tighten those up a little more. Not tight yet. I'm just going to turn down the music a bit so I don't get copyright claimed, because that would suck. Okay, so I've got this first one done here. You can see the gray spacers and then the top bracket and the screws. And now I need to do the same for the top part of the board. So again, gray spacer on each side. And on this cooler, the brackets are supposed to be kind of convex, like pointing towards the CPU. Always follow the instructions that come with your cooler because each one will be a little different. And especially on different platforms, installing a cooler on AMD is going to be different from installing a cooler on an Intel machine. So now I'm going to start tightening up each one. Do crisscross. Okay, so now the bracket is mounted in place. It's not going to fall out. The back plate is not going to fall out anymore because that's all screwed in. It's going to stay there. Let's go back to the TV camera. All right, so we got our board prepared pretty much. We just need to install the actual cooler on it, but we want to, what I like to do is get the board in the case and mount everything first. I'll probably do the power supply before I actually get the cabling for the power, or what am I saying? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so now I just need to find the screws that came with the case. Right here. Okay. The box or the manual will tell me how many screws I got. Okay, so I should have only gotten 4 screws for the motherboard. They're 5mm, and they're just little flat guys. So let's take a look. Yeah, for ITX motherboards, you only need 4 screws. Everything's just a little bit smaller. Okay, this looks like it could be one. Hey, baby, what cup size are you? I am probably a B cup, to be honest. Okay, and I just need one more screw. And those look very similar. Oh my god, it's a bloke, kill me now. That would be illegal. I'm still looking for the right screws. I think they're supposed to be flat. I could be wrong. You screw me. Yeah, right. Okay, yeah, those are supposed to be like flat screws. Where the fuck are they though? Maybe it's these ones. Okay, I found four of the same kind. If there's no more, then that should be correct. Yeah. Looks good. And then for the power supply, there's going to be four rough threaded screws. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we got all the screws we need for that. Just gonna change up the music a little bit. Okay, all those rubber grommets must be for hard drives. Not really concerned about that right now. So I'm just gonna keep the motherboard separate for now while I install the power supply. And just for better airflow, I'm gonna have the fan of the power supply facing down. And so this is the bottom of the case. I'm gonna feed the cables in through the gap. Then maybe it'll stop fighting with me. Okay. Yeah, so now I just screw those in from the back of the case. And again, I'm doing it crisscross. I tighten them up corner by corner. I don't want to close up the bottom just yet because I need to get in there for cable management. But I'm going to feed the rest of the cables back through that gap that's right in the middle there. These cables are fighting with me. What a pain in the ass. There we go. Okay, so currently we've got the power supply installed. I gotta put the I/O shield in again because it came out. Kind of annoying, but whatever. And just be careful with IO shields, they can be pretty sharp. So just watch out for the edges because you might easily slice yourself up. There's a lot of sharp computer parts, so you always got to be careful. Don't be too careless. So now I'm going to put the motherboard in, and I'm basically just going to slide it into the IO shield, and then it should match up with where the screws go. Just about perfect. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install one of the corner screws and then kind of align it a little better. If the screw holes are centered in the other corner, then pretty much good to go. And again, I'm going from corner to corner. Yeah, so all the screw holes look pretty centered now. I can start tightening everything up. Pretty crazy how small this all is. Like I said, I've never built in an ITX case before. I've never done a small form factor rig. So it looks like we'll be doing most of our cable management in the bottom half of the case, just because we'll have to hide a lot of this. You digging the playlist? That's cool, man. I'm just playing a few artists I like. So for the graphics card, I need to take both the PCI Express slots out, because both those slots are going to be used for the graphics card. So I just take out the two screws and I take out the dummy slots that are there. I'm just going to set those screws aside. Just kind of jimmy these out. And I'm going to put those with the motherboard so that eventually if I come back to this build and I need to modify something, I still have the parts. So this graphics card I actually got for free. Well, not quite free, but where's my vape? I wanna suck on my douche flute. There it is. Yeah, basically, I think in the fall last year, I bought a couple of broken RX 580s, and I paid $50 shipped, and I thought I could fix them. I couldn't. It was either a silicon or a memory issue. They were both dead cards. I couldn't do anything to get them to work. So I did an RMA ticket with SFX, and I told them I bought these, and they were dead on arrival. Like, I told them the truth. And they had me send them in. I had to pay for... I think I had to pay for shipping to send it to them, but they were in Canada. A couple weeks later, I got 2 brand new graphics cards in the mail. They upgraded me to an RX 590 on one of them, but that's not going to fit in this machine, so I can't use it. But I thought that was pretty awesome. SFX has helped me out before with, at the time, like a 3-year-old graphics card. They sent me a fan for it, and they continue to impress me. So for AMD, I would definitely recommend SFX just because of their amazing support. But on the NVIDIA side, Asus Strix are some of the best cards you can get. EVGA has incredible support and they make good cards. I've heard mixed things about Zotac. I've never really played around with the Zotac card, so do your research on those. And who else? In general, avoid MSI armor cards. They don't have very good cooling. Hello, Omega Z. I remember your name. It's been a while. I just dropped something. I think it was a warranty card. Yeah, SFX sent me 2 brand new graphics cards. They were sealed in box. And I was amazed that they actually did that for me. This is the beefy bugger right here. I don't need any of this other stuff because we're not going to be using any power adapters. Never use power adapters if you're trying to power a graphics card, because that's just asking for trouble. That's how you burn shit. Only use the connectors that came with your power supply, and make sure that your power supply can handle the graphics card that you're installing. So in this case, I've got an RX 580 and a Ryzen 5 3600X. The graphics card is about 200 watts at its peak, and then the CPU is about 100, just over 100, I'm pretty sure. But the power supply currently is a 750 watt. I did order a 650 watt, but that didn't come in time. 650 would have been way more than enough. I just got a 650 so that I could expand to maybe like a better graphics card in the future, because the CPU is going to last. The CPU is going to last a long time. The Ryzen 5 3600 is probably the best value right now for a mid-end CPU. It's definitely better than anything Intel's putting out at that range. I gotta peel a bunch of plastic off. Give me a second. Oh, that's so satisfying. Oh, it's so satisfying. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you can see me, Dustin. Oh, look at that peel. Isn't that appealing? I'm sorry. And there's also a sticker on the middle of the fan blades. Okay, so that's off. Here's a... Oh, Jesus. I did not know about that. My bad. At least nothing nasty is showing. New GPU, one of many. And then there's some covers on the back of your graphics card. One thing, if you're building a machine and you bought a graphics card, you want to make sure that you're actually using it. So usually you're going to have like an HDMI or a DisplayPort on the motherboard. If you have a graphics card, don't use that port. You're not going to get the benefit of the graphics card that you paid for. You want to use the ports that are on the back of the card. And a lot of people seem to get this mixed up for some reason. So if you have a card, plug it into that directly, plug your monitors into it. If you don't have a graphics card, then just use the onboard graphics, because that's all you have. But in this case, the Ryzen 5 3600 and, well, any of the non-APUs do not have graphics built in. So if you plug HDMI or DisplayPort into these ports here, you will get nothing. If I had a Ryzen 5 3400G, then I would get a video output there. It all depends on the parts that you have. And again, like I mentioned on Facebook, if you have any questions, just let me know. I'll happily answer them. This is a tight fit. Wow. I'm just making sure that it's actually in the slot right now. Yep. I'm not blocking anything off. So I'll just slot it in. There we go. So now we got the graphics card installed. Yeah, thanks for the warning, Omega Z. Yeah, that hole is a nuisance. Rip. Now this is just Thermaltake. Yeah, that's a 200 millimeter fan. That's just blowing throughout the whole thing. The side panel has a vent right here so the graphics card can breathe on its own. That's gonna be really good. I got the spiderweb of cables I gotta deal with. I gotta check the manual for the motherboard to make sure that I have the plugs correct. I don't want to get that mixed up. But first I have to screw the graphics card in. Yeah, so far it's really nice. It's going to be a stealth build. There's no RGB on this, but that's fine. Because this is just going to be a living room PC for like VR or media. It's really nothing too fancy. Like, it's a nice machine, but it's not going to blow your socks off, you know? Glass sides? No. It's got an acrylic panel on the top so I can see the insides, but there's no glass. Like, this is a case so small I could pick it up and grab it and take it to a LAN party if I wanted to. Yeah, the graphics card just barely fits. It sticks through where the front panel is. Speaking of the front panel, I can put that back on now. So there's the front. Hi, Safin, how's it going? So there's too much going on cable-wise right now. I'm trying not to drop this shit. I'm actually going to pull it back down until I'm ready to plug that in. So there's this little gap. There's this little gap in the case which I'm just feeding stuff through. It's right here. Nice and convenient. So this first connector is 3 pins. This is the fan that goes on the front, so I'm going to plug this into system fan 1. Currently I only have the one fan, so I don't need to worry about any others. I think there's only one plug for extra fans. Yeah, beside the CPU fan plug, that's the only one. So I'm just going to feed that under. Just going to try and cable manage this a little bit. No shortage for cooling. It's not a lot of cooling, but it's enough cooling. It's just enough. Well, more than enough, but you know. What graphics card? It's just an RX 580. If a big rig is compensating for a small wang, what does it mean when someone intentionally builds a small ring? It's small rig. Hashtag hung. Yeah, I really do appreciate how this handles the cooling. There's two 80mm fans, 2 spots for 80mm fans at the back. I don't expect this to get too hot, so I'm not going to be worried about it. But in the future, I might replace the cooler that I'm putting in here, the Noctua cooler. I might be replacing this with like a 120mm all-in-one water cooler. And the only space that I can put that is on the front. So it's either I get the 200mm fan or I get the water cooler. So I'm going to see how this performs, and we're going to benchmark this, and we're going to check it out. And of course, if you have any random tech questions while I'm building, go ahead. That's what I'm here for. Got nothing else to do during quarantine, so if you want to tap into my wealth of knowledge, go right ahead. The sides are mesh? No. Here's one of the sides. It's just like honeycomb pattern in the metal. It's no mesh. So that's gonna be, I'm gonna have to dust it a little more frequently than other cases, but I'm not too worried about it. Yes, I'm alive, Savine. The box of honeycomb sitting in the corner? No, we can't talk about that. It's private. So one thing I can see right now, I can sneak the CPU 8-pin up through the side here, and maybe get it beside that hard drive cage. Or maybe I will just remove that hard drive cage. Not a sponsor, no. With my sailor mouth, Post would never sponsor me. So all I'm doing right now is just removing this hard drive cage to help with cable management. So there's these two hard drive cages on the side. I'm just gonna lift this bugger out if I can. How does it mount? Like, I'm not familiar with this case, so. Okay, I'm gonna have to refer to the manual again. Those honeycombs must have seen some shit if they're private. Yeah, you should see the bedroom. How's mom? She been good? She's been good. She's back to work. Pull the hard drive tray out. Pull the hard drive tray out. How? Oh, that's gonna be a sliced finger. Oh well. Alright, so what I was trying to do was trying to get this CPU power snuck through here. Kind of hard to see, but basically just kind of have it come up where the hard drive cage sits. And just sit in the corner there, and then have it go into the bottom of the case. So I'm going to put the hard drive cage back. Somehow. Looks like it's just pressure. Interesting. Yeah, it just slips in there with pressure. That's really strange. Now, where did I put that screw? Oh, it's on the screwdriver. Okay.
Nice.
Doom exists. Thank you for the gifts, Dustin. Hope life's treating you well. Okay, so I'm gonna try and show you what I did there. Okay. So there's the power supply on the bottom. What I did is I fed the CPU cable through where the hard drive tray goes, and there's a little tiny space where it fits through, and I just did that for cable management, so there's fewer cables on the top of the case, so it just kind of disappears into the corner, which is nice. Mod's gotta be subbed. I mean, you don't have to, but it's nice. So I'm getting really sidetracked. Let's keep going. Here's an easy plug. This one is the HD audio. I'm just going to see if I can find out where the HD audio plug goes based on the silk screen on the motherboard, because the motherboard will usually tell you where things need to go. But if it's for the front panel connector, it generally won't tell you which one is hard drive power, which one is the power button, and so on. So you usually need to check the manual for that. Okay, yeah, so there's a connector here that says JAUD1. I can assume that that's J audio, jumper audio, and the pins match up because there's a blocked out pin on the connector, and there's a pin missing on that, on the connector on the board. So I can just plug it in there, and it'll work. And then, oh, there's even a little connector on the motherboard that you can use to manually flash the BIOS, like if the board is dead. That's cool. This would definitely be a lot easier if I did not install the graphics card, but you know what? Whatever. That's fine. And then USB 3. There's a connector at the top of the board here. It'll only fit one way. Most of these connectors are either notched or keyed so that you cannot plug it in the wrong way. So don't have too much to worry about with most of these. The biggest thing to worry about is not breaking the pins on your CPU and not like bending shit. So just plugging it in. Here we go. What I'm going to do is feed it through the corner though. Just for cable management again. This time I won't have to remove a drive bay. They'll just fit there. Okay, and I just kind of fold that down a bit. Deductive reasoning. Yep, deductive reasoning. Savine, this is a spare PC for me, but I want to do more builds like this. I want to start building and selling PCs to people. As of whenever I can build and ship PCs for people, I'd love to do that. Although shipping to the US or anywhere outside of Canada is a little cost prohibitive, so can't really do that right now. But I would be overjoyed to build PCs for people and get everything running, because this is my passion. I'm trying to get the PCI Express cover on and it's not doing a thing. It's being a little whore. Fuck. Come on. What the fuck? I'll read the chat again in just a second. Yeah, that cover's not going on because this card is so thick. I'm not surprised. There we go, just got it on. Just that little cover right there, that covers the screws. What's chat saying? Yep. Compact VR rig. Living room PC. PC heavy, high shipping cost, yeah. Thermaltake ATX Mini that you got. What do you mean? You got another case? Okay, so one of the last connectors from the case, or I guess the last connector from the case, is the front panel connectors, which includes the reset switch, hard drive LEDs, the power LED, and the power switch. So I'm going to check the manual. That is not the right manual. I think I put the manual back in the box. First case I bought this before I dedicated to full size. Oh shit, I'm always up for free parts. If you're offering. I have spare motherboards, I have spare CPUs. I'm a bit of a Ryzen slut. I have a Ryzen 3 1200, I got a 2200G, I got an Athlon 200 GE, and I've got a 3600 lying around. And I could definitely do something with all those. Yeah, Safian, you, me, and Jonah used to hang out a long time ago. When I still lived in the city. Yeah, Ryzen's fucking great, dude. Front panel. Here we go. You were seconds away from ordering a new rig? What were you planning, Savine? Okay, so I want to start with the leftmost connectors, just so that it's easier to plug them in the farther I go. Threadripper. Oh god, don't go Threadripper unless you're doing content creation. It's not worth it. So power LED and hard drive LED are the first. Hard drive LED is on the bottom. And it starts with the positive. So what I like to do is I like to split up these connectors so I have a bit more slack on each one. Just makes my life a little easier when I'm connecting stuff. And this is going to be a pain in the ass because it's right in the corner. But I got it. It's gonna be really hard to show this, but I'll show you everything when I'm done here. Okay, those connectors in. Yeah, those connectors are in. Oh, a first gen Threadripper. Skip. Completely skip. It's just not worth it right now. One, 3, 5, and 7. 5 and 7 are reset switch, and then the other one is power switch. So when you're connecting the front panel connectors, you don't need to worry about the polarity of the power switch and the reset switch. You do have to worry about the polarity of the LEDs though, because there are diodes that will only plug in one way. So you have to make sure to match the polarity for those when you're installing, if you care about the LEDs. If you don't care about the LEDs, then do what you want. So I'm just tightening up the cooler mount again. I'm going to connect the power to the motherboard, the main power, the big 24-pin connector, and then I'm going to install the cooler. So this is what we're looking at right now. Pretty much everything is done aside from the cooler and the power, because the SSD is on the underside of the board. The SSD is already installed on the underside of the board, so that's not something we have to worry about. We do need power for the graphics card. So we're going to feed that in. We're getting there, boys. And or ladies. Okay, so I got the 24-pin here. I'm going to install it. pull that down so we got little to no slack. Just want to make sure this looks really clean. I'm probably going to use the cable ties when we're done just to try and work on my cable management. So once we're done with the top side, we can completely work on the bottom side and, you know, clean everything up. So all the power's connected. We've got the front panel, we've got the USB, we just need to do the cooler. So in this case, I'm going to use a microfiber and clean off the CPU. And I gotta find where I put my thermal paste, because I put it down somewhere. Ugh. Oh, right here. Ow, fuck. So here's the cooler. Gonna take out this cardboard. Don't need it. So what I'm doing now is I'm just putting thermal paste on the CPU. I'm doing it in an X pattern, and I'll show you once I'm done. You don't need too much. I also don't want this to overheat. So I don't know if you'll be able to see, but I did an X pattern with dots in between the gaps, just to try and cover the most surface area. So I'm taking the plastic cap off the cooler, I'm getting the fan connector ready, but I actually need to take the fan off right now. This is so sad. Oh no. Okay, I'm slicing myself up. Yep, I'm bleeding. And because I touched the fucking... I touched the heatsink. I gotta clean it off again. But now I can install it. You don't want any dust or any particles on the heatsink if you can help it. Oh yeah, she's bleeding. And so I'm just tightening one side at a time. And again, always pay attention to the instructions that come with your cooler. Most of them install differently. And it's different depending on the platform that you're installing it with. So when in doubt, just read the instructions or call a friend who knows or can help you. So I'm just doing side to side. There's lots of clearance with the RAM, so that's good. I'm going to show you what it looks like here before I install the fan. I'm just tightening, and when it stops, you want to stop tightening. Ugh. So there's the cooler installed. It's a tiny little tower. Tiny little tower. Is my chat frozen? You guys still here? Is my internet crapping itself? I would honestly not be surprised if Shaw was crapping itself right now. So there we go, I just installed the fan. Just gonna see if the stream's still up on Twitch. Okay, yeah. Just everything suddenly stopped, so I got concerned. So what I'm doing is I'm tucking the fan connector under the heatsink, just to give it a cleaner look. So that cable's pretty much hidden now. So if we were to plug it in right now, it'd pretty much boot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install the top panel. We're done with this side. So here's the top, there's still a protective cover on the acrylic. Here's the side, here's one of the sides. I'm going to install that side panel too. Because we don't really need to do anything over here. And here's how it looks from the back so far. Looks like I can fit a lot of these cables just underneath where the hard drive bay is. Just kind of tucking them in there, seeing if I can get away with that. So I do have room for a couple hard drives in the future, and I'll probably use those so I can have mass storage for DVDs and such. But other than that, this is pretty much good to go. So everything's connected. USB 2.0 is still good. Coolers installed. Making contact. I got the 8-pin. Yeah, nothing's getting in the way of the fan. So yeah, we can install the bottom panel now. And it has a little dust filter on it, which is going to be nice for maintenance in the future. Ah, fuck. Just about dropped something. Oh, that one cable is sticking out. I don't like that. That's ugly. I gotta take the back panel off again, or the bottom panel. Don't fall off the edge. Thank you. Okay, that is that cable. You come back here. Okay, yeah, it's probably as good as it's gonna get here. Clearance looks good. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna do this side panel. So I'm just putting the final screws in the case. Alright, so now we're gonna see. Got the build all done. We're gonna see if it works first try. That's all the acrylic gone. Ain't she pretty? What a little beast. The power button is on the other side for some reason. Okay, I'm not getting a light out of the graphics card. That's kind of concerning. There's my keyboard. Alright, I'll take care. You gotta go new. Alright, good luck, have fun, my dude. Keko Dance 1. Hello, how's it going? What am I missing? Oh yeah, I need a network cable. Herder. Give me a second. Yeah, I already built it. You can go back into the VOD and see all the steps, but I'm going to be doing the Windows install and drivers and overclocking from start to finish now that I've built it. And this is just the first boot. I don't even know if it turns on yet. So I'm just preparing that right now. I'm getting it all connected. I just need the network cable. So just a moment here, and then I'll set it to screen capture. Don't connect Ethernet until I know because of the Windows login thing, but I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned about that. No, Cortana, blech. I'm using Windows 10 Pro. I'm not really concerned. But that's a good tip, yeah. Anybody who's installing Windows 10 Home Edition, what that person was talking about in the chat was about Cortana and how you need, if you're installing Windows 10 Home, it requires you to sign in with a Microsoft account if you're connected to the net, which is a giant pain in the butt. Just gonna disconnect my PS4 because I'm not using it right now, and I'll use that port. I'm gonna use that port for my this tower. And everything froze. Everything froze. Ah, shit. Hello? Everything froze. Yep, still frozen. That's good. Hello? Okay, alright. That's weird. Hello again. I fucking hate the Candy Crush install. That shit annoys me. It's so frustrating. And so, we got... DCP. I don't use any of that. I use legitimate licenses. And that way I don't have to worry about it ever. That wasn't the power button. Is this the power button? That was the power button. Okay, the machine is on. It just turned on. But yeah, I don't use any of the Enterprise or anything like that. I use the Consumer, Home, or Pro editions. Sure, it's still an official version of Windows, but it's not like... Generally, you're not meant to have those. Okay, Elgato. Like, unless you do have a business license, that's meant to be used in like an office sort of thing. Oh, there we go. Alright, so let's just go through blah blah blah. The M2 drive is showing up. Advanced. Blah blah blah. Don't care, don't care. LAN option, I'm not really concerned. Onboard Wi-Fi I do want, because that's useful. USB, hardware, blah blah blah. That looks fine. CPU temperature's at 30 right now, that's good. Because the CPU usually uses more power when it's in BIOS or boot than it does when you're like just sitting idle in Windows. UEFI, we're not using compatibility mode. I just want to... Oh, I have to restart because I just disabled CSM. Yeah, we'll have to deal with all the memory stuff in a second here. Because the memory is running at 2133, it should be running at 3200, but we're going to make it run at 3600. And we're also going to turn on virtualization because I do want to run VMs on this in the future. Probably mess around with Docker. And other things. Okay. So changes and reboot. And hit delete a bunch of times. There we go. Got an input. Just taking a second to come through to the TV. Okay, so what I wanted to do is go to Windows OS configuration and turn Secure Boot on. Because we're not going to be doing any like phone flashing or like different stuff like that. We don't have to worry about that. Because I know with phone flashing or like modifying consoles, sometimes it requires you to have like unsigned drivers. And if you're running Windows with Secure Boot, or if you're running with the default settings, it really just makes it a pain in the ass for you. What the hell is Game Boost? Sure, let's do that. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, next thing we're going to do is boot to the Windows flash drive that I have so that we can install Windows. Game boost enabled. It is not recommended to do any modification, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even get to read that. It just disappeared. Nice. I just want to get into the BIOS. Alright. Oh, it actually overclocks. No, we're gonna turn that off for now and leave it to do precision boost. Because with AMD CPUs, you really don't need to bother with overclocking too much. It's really the RAM that matters the most. So you want high-speed, low-latency RAM. Ideally, you want 3,733 megahertz at CAS latency of 17. Like maybe if you're more familiar with older computers, you'd be looking at DDR3 1600 for most machines, at least anything Ivy Bridge or newer. And when DDR4 first came out, there was like the X79 chipset was using it, I'm pretty sure. The base speed for DDR4 I think is 2133. And that's like the bare minimum. Any machine should be able to run 2133. So I'm just going to tell the machine to boot from my Jet Flash, my USB drive. And that'll boot the Windows installer. Getting devices ready. Why is it getting devices ready? I don't think it booted to the flash drive, I think it booted to the SSD. That's annoying. It should just be booting to the flash drive. I don't know why it didn't. Here we go. So maybe a little hard to see, but what I'm doing is I'm just setting the time and currency format to English Canada. You don't have to do this because United States pretty much the same. We're basically the same country. And here I'm going to click I don't have a product key because I ain't sharing keys on stream. I'm going to click Windows 10 Pro, not Pro N, because my license doesn't work with Pro N, and yours likely won't too. That's generally reserved for Europe. I click next a bunch of times. I hit custom because this is a fresh install. And if there's any partitions, you want to make sure and delete them. But if you do that, you want to make sure that you don't need anything on that drive. Like this is a brand new drive. I installed Windows on it to test everything, so I don't need these partitions. But you want to make sure that if you have any drives showing up here that you don't recognize, you make sure that you check them out. Make sure there's no data you need on them before you start erasing stuff. So just delete all the partitions. It just shows unallocated space, 930 gigs. And this is a 1 terabyte drive, so that makes sense. So I'm going to click next, and it should be done shortly. I just have to respond to a few things. Oh, Broccoli, thank you for the host, my dude. Hope things are going well for you. Sorry my audio is a little scuffed. I couldn't get it working the way I wanted to. Just checking messages while I'm waiting on Windows. Audio sounds fine, that's good. Glad to hear it. The camera seems to be doing all sorts of weird shit. Like it's amplifying the noise, but it's also amplifying me when I speak. It's kind of weird. It was really hard to balance when I set this up. Yeah, I'm just catching up on social media while I'm waiting for this to boot. If you're installing Windows to an SSD, this is gonna generally take just a few minutes. Broccoli, you should see how tiny this little machine is. I can't move too much stuff right now, otherwise I'll disconnect the fucking video stream again. But if you go back in the VOD, it'll show you. Yeah, I did the whole build already, Broccoli. I did the whole build already, but if you go back in the VOD, you can see the different parts. Because this is B450, I had to take a little time and throw in a spare graphics card and put on a temporary cooler just to make sure it would boot. Because B450 does not work with the Ryzen 3000 processors out of the box, and that includes the 3200G and the 3400G. You need to make sure that it'll work. So I just threw the 3600X in there with a spare cooler I had and a spare graphics card, and it worked. So now that Windows is done installing, I can remove the flash drive with Windows on it. I don't need that anymore. It's honestly pretty good. What do you mean? But yeah, luckily this board that I bought, it came with Ryzen 3000 support right out of the box. I didn't have to do anything. It already had the latest BIOS. And right now to control it, I'm just using a wireless keyboard and mouse trackpad. His joke? His joke missed the mark though, because let me tell you, FAT, File Allocation Table, is a file system type. NTSC is the North American video standard for video communication, like cable TV. It would be NTFS. But that's just me being picky, you know? It's still funny. I just don't show it very well. You could even do XFAT, EXFAT, or HFS, or what's the Linux one? EXT, EXT4, or ZFS. There's FAT, FAT32, XFAT. Whole bunch of them. And then for video systems, the three big ones were NTSC, PAL, and SECAM, SECAM. Right keyboard layout? Yes, because I don't want the fucking symbols and shit. Where'd my phone go? I keep losing my phone. For LOL. Okay, I'm gonna put the phone where I'm not gonna forget it with my doorbell phone. It was so stupid. I had to actually get a prepaid phone line so that the little doorbell in the apartment lobby will actually be able to call me, because my main phone line is a phone number I kept from the city I came from. And they need a phone number for the city that I live in. So I asked them to set up the doorbell with my phone, and it didn't work. It just would not work, even though it's the same area code. I had to get a local number. The stupidest shit. This is really pressing on my ears. Holy shit, my laptop is just going vrrr. Okay, so this is going to be for personal use. If you have Windows 10 Pro, you don't want to set it up as for an organization unless it's like a business computer, whatever. This computer is going to be meant for VR, Broccoli. Yeah, setting it up for organization would be like for if it's a computer that's going to be registered with a domain, like on a business or a school. So you don't want to do that unless you're using the computer in a business and you need access to domain resources. I'm not going to sign in with a Microsoft account because that's bullshit. I'm going to be going with an offline account. And again, as someone was saying in chat earlier, don't connect the internet while you're doing Windows setup, especially if you're using Windows 10 Home. Because on Windows 10 Home, if you have the internet connection plugged in, the only option it gives you is to create or use a Microsoft account. So if you don't have the internet connected, your only option is to use an offline account. It's much better. I do not see the need for a Microsoft account unless you're using like OneDrive and stuff like that. I'm just gonna call it ALMAO, no password. VR Overwatch Pip AD. Oh. And it just installed the graphics driver in the background. I can't move the mouse. There we go. Decline. No. No. Yes, in case I do set up a Microsoft account, then I'll be able to locate it. Otherwise, I want to decline all this. This is totally up to you. I just like declining all this shit because I don't need it. And I imagine it's just extra resources. So even though Windows has already installed the graphics driver, I want to download the latest one from AMD's site. Because I don't trust that Windows has automatically given me the latest driver. It probably has not. It has probably given me a driver that's months old. And if I want to play games on it, I want the latest drivers. I might be talking really fast, and if so, I'm sorry about that. I'm excited, okay? Jesus Christ, it's only 2:30. This might take several minutes. It won't. I'm getting hyped that this is actually working out. I was not expecting the video capture I have to actually work for me. Okay, what resolution are we running at? I'm hoping this is like 720 or 1080. Yeah, 1080p, okay. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn the scaling up just so that you guys can see it a little better. It's gonna be a little squished for me, but it's just so that you guys can see what I'm doing. So what I'm gonna do first is go to google.ca. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I can go to ninite.com. And I can choose all these applications that I want. I want Firefox. I want Image Burn for ripping and burning disks. I want Discord to keep up with friends and fam. I want Notepad++. I want 7-zip. I want QBitTorrent for all those Linux ISOs. That was a joke. Audacity, VLC, and Spotify. And Foobar, actually. I don't need anti-malware, not worried about that, and then I'll get Steam. And I'll get those to download. And then I just run that. And Ninite, this great little application, is gonna download and install all those applications for me. I don't need to do a thing. And if I run this same launcher again, it'll keep those apps updated for me. I'm gonna delete that Edge shortcut. I'm gonna delete that Mail shortcut, that Windows Store shortcut, that Edge shortcut. I'm gonna remove the search bar in Cortana. So now it's just the task view. You remember having a list? Yeah, I just like download stuff as I need to, just because the internet's so quick. Yeah, I'm gonna change up the music. This stream's probably gonna get muted, unfortunately. So I'm just owning it. Spotify's still downloading. Cool. Yeah, look at this guy with the quick Canadian internet. We'll take a look at it and see how quick it is. I'm gonna check Device Manager to see what drivers I'm missing. It actually got it. Yeah, it actually got all the drivers. Okay, so all those applications are downloaded. So what I'm gonna do is download the latest drivers I can get. So AMD drivers. I'm gonna get not only the graphics card drivers, but the chipset drivers from AMD. Because the chipset drivers on MSI's website are probably gonna be out of date. So this is a graphics card, this is an RX 500 series. And it's an RX 500 series, so 580, and then submit. And then Windows 10 64-bit. I'm gonna get the very latest one. Save. That's pretty quick. And so now I'm going to go back to that same page. I'm going to go to chipsets. I'm going to go to AM4 and B450. And because I'm not using RAID, all I need is the chipset drivers. I don't need the RAID installer. Okay, so we're still downloading the video drivers. But the chipset drivers are done. Now, just so I don't interrupt the download, I'm going to wait for this to be finished. And then I'll install the chipset drivers. But in the meantime, I can get logged into Steam. I don't know what we're playing first. I'm going to be benchmarking and overclocking. And my thumb stopped bleeding. Nice. Okay, so Steam is done downloading, the graphics card drivers are done downloading. So I'm gonna install the chipset drivers. Oh shit, I'm out of blood. Yeah, I always knew I was a vampire. I'll have to go eat somebody later. Alice in Wonderland VR game? I've never heard of that. I got like a Counting Plus Super Hot VR. And I want, okay, so this is the chipset driver installer. I want all of this. I'm gonna log into Steam while I'm waiting. I think that's my password. No, it's not. Alien Isolation? I'll have to look into it. I don't think I have that game. Down the rabbit hole, that sounds trippy. X7. Yo, I'm so glad this is working. I did not think my game capture would be able to do this. So I'm not going to restart just yet. I'm also going to get the video drivers installed at the same time. Can delete that. VR Doom. I want to try that. And Sammy wants to try VR Skyrim at some point. The nice thing is this machine will be great for streaming console games, because I can just have it sit here and it's not going to take up much space. It's going to take up less space than the 7 Xbox 360s I have here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Xbox 360s. So yeah, it'll take up less space than like 3 of them. And once these are done, I'm gonna start downloading the drivers from MSI's website. I'm gonna set Firefox as my default browser. If I were on a laptop, I would use Edge because the battery life is a bit better when using it, and so is the memory usage. It's actually a good solution for laptops. Like Edge is better than Chrome and Firefox for like using on the go. It's free real estate. 8 Xbox 360 supercomputer. Well, one of them is Red Ring, so really it's 7, but you know. This is a Gaming Plus AC. I'm going to go back to the website and I'm going to download the drivers and software they have. Eventually I might add RGB strips in here, but right now I got nothing, so I don't need to download the software for that stuff. So I'm going to go to support. I'm going to go to driver. Oh, it just refreshed the graphics. And it just changed the scaling again, so I got to change it back to 150%. So on the MSI website, I'm going to drivers. I choose my operating system, which is Windows 10 64-bit. And that's just the RAID driver. I don't need that because I'm not running RAID. I got the chipset driver already, so I don't need that. The LAN driver I do want to get. The Intel Wi-Fi and Bluetooth driver I will get from Intel, because I know I can get a newer version there. But I will get the Realtek drivers here. And then onboard audio, I'm going to download that too. We're probably not going to use it because this machine's going to be running through HDMI, but you know, it could come in handy. So what I'm going to do is I need to get the name of that hardware. Intel Wireless AC 3168 drivers. I'll probably replace that Wi-Fi card in the future. Like if I ever plan on taking this out to a LAN party or something, but for now it's fine. I'm gonna have it wired in. And so here's all the drivers I can get for this card. And what I can actually do is just go to the Intel Driver Assistant. Because then I don't have to do any guesswork, it'll just detect and install the latest. This works for networking equipment really well, because it's not vendor specific. But for graphics drivers, you generally want to get your Intel graphics drivers from, like, if it's a Lenovo machine, you want it from Lenovo, and so on. And it just got interrupted. That's cool. There we go, we got 2 updates available. That's likely the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth. Yeah. So it's gonna download those. I'm gonna unzip these guys. And then setup.exe is usually the one. Another thing I want to get is hardware. Oops. Hardware info 64. So I can keep track of temperatures. Okay, and that didn't work. Install failed to start. Shit. Okay, now it's working. I'm getting there. I'm going at my own pace. So for Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, I'm just gonna click typical. I'm not concerned about all the optional stuff. I'm gonna get hardware info installed. See how our temps are looking, so I'm just gonna hit sensors only. And now I'm just going to install the Wi-Fi update. .1 is max. 8.1 was on the FX processor. I'm pretty sure. But even then, I'm not doing like liquid nitrogen, so I'm not gonna get anywhere near that. I'm just gonna use PBO and let it do its own thing. It should get like 4.4 gigahertz, something like that. And that's all I'm really worried about. So there's my 16 gigs of memory. It's running at like 50 degrees right now. Kind of weird. Not too concerned. Okay, Intel drivers are up to date. So the last thing I have to do before I restart is install the LAN drivers. Yeah, I'm gonna stress test it, I'll get there. But imagine one day we might get to 69 gigahertz. That'd be pretty cool. Maybe someday. All right, delete all that. Okay, and while it's restarting, I'm just gonna go grab my flash drive with mem test, so we can get the memory working. I'm just gonna make sure I got my drugs today, because I honestly can't remember. Ah, shit. I just dumped my Nutter Butters in the bin. Okay. July 10th, you're gonna be building your PC. What are your specs? You're gonna stream it? That's cool. 30. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 12, Yeah, it seems right. Cool. You know, instead of typing my stuff in, I'm gonna log into Discord on my phone. I don't know how to do that, honestly. There we go. I gotta restart again? Okay, fuck it. Ryzen 5 3600, GTX 1650, 8 gigs of RAM, 2 sticks, 2600 OC to 3000, GPass case, 3 fans, a random 80 plus round CPU. That's still like a decent machine. That's gonna play a lot of games at 1080p at high settings. That's pretty nice. 500, fuck, that's cheap. That's real cheap. Getting a pretty good deal there, bud. That's a steal. Let's see, I'm just gonna access my server. And yes, it's called Dank Server. Under 50%, good. $460 when Ryzen 3 waters cool down. Oh yeah. Why didn't that work? There we go. Nice those. That's going to be one of the first things I install, just to check that out. Do I need anything? Yeah, Steam apps, here we go. Golf with your friends, probably copy over. Cuphead. Sonic Mania. Super inefficient golf, super hat. Super hot, not super hat. The fuck am I saying? Steam. Actually, what am I doing? So this is all optional stuff. I'm just setting up my server to stream games. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell Steam to point to it. Yeah, you could hook up two PCs with the router. You basically just right-click a folder, go to Share. You call the folder what you want, and check the computer's, like if you're running Windows 10, you right-click the Start menu, you go to System, and then your device name will be right there. So that'll be the name that you look for on the network when they're both connected. And then you can transfer it like that. So you do // like this here. It's going to be a little different for me because I'm running a Linux server, but // dank server, and then my folder is media. Yeah. The PCs don't normally show up on your network. You have to change a lot of settings to loosen up the security, because the security by default makes it so you can't really see things. So what I do is I just share it with a password, and then I just type everything in manually. But there's easier ways to do it. Because even though my network is private, I just try and keep everything secure. Wait, what? No, that's not what I want to do. What I wanted to do is map a network drive. Here we go. There we go. Now that'll show up in Steam. So now if I go to my library, ready to play, yeah, there they are. No, there's no DVD drive, it's being emulated over the network. Microsoft Virtual DVD-ROM. I just have the DVD disc on my network, or like the ISO, so that I can install things pretty quickly. Yeah, now that everything's kind of up and going, I'm gonna pin Firefox. Let's go to speed test and see what we get. It's probably not gonna be great, because I'm streaming right now. Yeah, the speed is supposed to be 3 times that. Nah, I don't need to install Ryzen Master. I'm not concerned about that. Like I said, I'm just gonna have it do PBO, and I'll just set that through the BIOS. I'm supposed to have 600 down and 20 up. So yeah, 200 is disappointing. Okay, so now it's installing Overwatch. I can get rid of this virtual drive. There we go. No, I'm not going to use 3D Mark right now. What I'm going to do is get Ryzen DRAM calculator and Typhoon burner. Yeah, I'll get this in a bench. I gotta get the RAM overclocked first. I have Dead by Daylight, yeah. Once I get the DRAM overclocked, then I will do Cinebench. So I got the numbers here. The problem with DRAM Ryzen calculator I've found is that when it imports the XMP settings from the RAM sticks, it's inaccurate. So what I do is I take the numbers straight from Typhoon Burner. And I'm actually gonna have to turn down my scaling so I can see this. And so that you can see it too. And where's Typhoon? It's over here. Okay, so I want the numbers at the bottom for frequency, because that's 1600 megahertz. That's what the RAM is meant to be. So we're going to take those input numbers and put them here. So this is Zen 2. One thing I don't know is to determine Samsung memory die. All Dead by Daylight streamers vape. I don't care for Dead by Daylight. Holy shit, this is Samsung B die. This is gonna overclock like a motherfucker. Okay. Yeah, wow. I gotta tell somebody about this. It's not that I don't care for it, it's that I'm really bad at it. I ain't doing 4,000 right now, no. I ain't doing 3,000. Currently... See, I'll show you here if I import XMP, or XMP. Yeah, that's not correct. Where the fuck is it getting its numbers from? So the memory rank, it should be just one rank. And the motherboard is B450. You getting them from Shitsoft? What is Shitsoft? Sir? RCD WR. And TRAS is 38. Oh wait, I wanted nanoseconds. It's not showing me in nanoseconds. Fuck. Okay. There we go. It's 10 nanoseconds. 11.25. And TRAS is 23.75. TRC is 35. TFW is 24. TRFC is yeah, 260 looks right. You can just enable XMP, but the problem is this RAM, the profile is for 3200 megahertz and I want it at 3600, so. TRC is 35, TRRDS, 2.5 nanoseconds, and then TRRDL, 4.849. Okay. So this is at 3200. Okay, so take a couple screenshots. Stop 3600. And then for 3200. Screenshots. Okay, and then what we're going to do is set the memory overclock and then test it. So I'm just going to turn off the Elgato for a second while I log into my photos and upload this. Three o'clock, Jesus Christ. Yeah, everything looks good. So we're just gonna go ahead and upload these. Come on. Okay, so this, one of the photos didn't upload. What if you want to OC easier? That is the best way to OC RAM, is if XMP works, then great. You don't have to do anything. If you wanna push the RAM further, then download Ryzen DRAM calculator and Typhoon burner, and you're good. Why can't it upload this? What the fuck? I'm gonna save it as a JPEG. Hey, Overwatch just got finished downloading. Nice. Okay, that's good. All right. So we're gonna overclock the memory now. We're gonna restart into the BIOS. So currently we know the memory is running at 2133 megahertz. We're trying to push it all the way to 3600 CL16. So I'm gonna show you how I do that. This is not gonna blow up. It's fucking B-die. I'm set. So I have all the timings uploaded to Google Drive so I can take a look at them on my phone. So I'm gonna bring those up. DRAM voltage should be at yeah, I'll move it. So the F clock we're going to set to 1800. So you want the F clock for Ryzen 3000 chips is basically the SoC or the Infinity Fabric. You want that to be at the same speed that your RAM is. So technically the RAM is going to be running at 1800 megahertz, but because it's double data rate, it ends up being 3600. So the RAM's running at 1800, the Infinity Fabric's running at 1800. If they're the same speed, or at least divisible into a whole number, then it's much better. And we want the DRAM frequency to be 3600. There we go. This is what I wanted. We want the SoC voltage to be 1.1 volts. So the memory speeds, or the memory set to 1.35. It says I should have it at 1.45, but I don't think I have to have it at that. All right. So we're going to take the numbers. These numbers will probably not work for you, so don't try and copy them. It's TCL16, RCRCRD, 20, read write 19, TRP 19. $40, 62, and then RC page doesn't show up on here, so I just skip it. RFC 124, 288, Actually, you know what? I'm just gonna set the 288. That doesn't work, then I'll try the alternate. TWR 14. TWTRS 4. You're gonna copy them? It's probably not gonna work for you. You can. WTRL is 14. TRRDS 3. TRDL 7. This is probably the most tedious part out of everything. TCKE. So RDSC. It's 1. Oh, that's SCL. That's 3. And then SC is 1. SD is 5. And DD is also 5. That's 3 again. SC is 1. SD is 7. And also 7. RDWR is 8. And so all I'm doing here is entering the numbers that I got from Ryzen DRAM calculator. I don't know how they get these numbers. I want to find out eventually, but I am not experienced enough. RRDS. Oh, what the hell am I doing? RDS should be 3, thank you. And then DL is 7. 3. What? Why wouldn't it? 3 and 4, 4 and 4. Yeah. That's annoying. Let's see what else I can do. Okay, I just found the thread about it on Reddit. This is gonna take a second. I've never had this issue. Well, we'll keep going for now. See what happens. I'm gonna put the RFC back to 88. If this doesn't work, I'm gonna be a little salty. Gear down, enable. Disabled. Power down, also disabled. BGS. Disabled. PGS Alt enabled. Processor ODT should be 34.3. RTTWR off. RTT no. Excuse me. And then 48. Should be 30, 20, 20, 24. Hopefully this works. What happens if it doesn't work? It'll BSOD or just randomly freeze, that sort of thing. Okay, this should all be good. 1800, 3600, 1.1 and 1.351. I thought there was a setting where I could save my overclock. Doesn't look like it, so I'll just have to re-enter all this again if it happens. Alright, let's give it a go. Where's my flash drive? Ugh, okay. We gotta do a memory stress test. If it even boots. We might not get so lucky. It looks like it should be booting. Sometimes it takes a while to retrain the memory. Yeah, I think that's not booting. We'll try again. You put the skill points into the dancer class? Ha ha ha. Wait, what is that? Work, you fucking bitch. That'd be nice. Where is... There. Yeah, I'm gonna have to do a CMOS reset. That's fine. Yeah, now it's gonna boot. At least I think I hit the CMOS reset. Yep. Yeah, reset everything. Fuck. Okay. Oh, there's the fucking overclock profiles. God damn it. Okay. Gotta restart. I just, there's a jumper on the board that's for CMOS reset. So I just touched the jumper with my screwdriver. Alright, so I gotta go back in and re-enable secure boot. What I am going to do DRAM frequency, yep. And then that should be set to 1.35 and SoC voltage should still be 1.1. Another thing we're going to do is change the F-clock frequency to 1600. So we're just going to use 3200 for now and see if that works. I don't expect this XMP profile to work right out of the box with this, because this is memory meant for Intel machines, but we're going to see. Alright, let's give it a go. No, I turned the power off and then I hit the jumper. Like I flipped the switch on the power supply. But yeah, if you buy memory that's meant for Intel machines, you likely will need to use Ryzen DRAM calculator. Let's see, are we running at 3200 megahertz? Yeah, okay. So the RAM is running at 3200, the profile seems to have worked, but what we're going to do is boot up into memtest and make sure that it actually does work. If it passes like 50%, then I'm not worried about it. It's probably going to be fine. But I just want to make sure that it gets to a certain point in memory test before I say, okay, I can leave it for now. At this point, I really just want to get it working. And that just completely ignored my boot button. I told it that I wanted the flash drive. It boots to Windows at 3200, so that's good. Maybe I won't have to do anything. I just know that the AMD memory controllers are a little picky. Yo, TV, you gonna wake up? Thank you. Here we go. Memtest 86. Compatible with Intel Ryzen? Okay, but which generation of Ryzen is it compatible with? Because I got memory that was compatible with 2nd gen Ryzen, and then I had to manually set timings for my 3rd gen CPUs. I mean, if all goes well, you should be able to just pop it in and turn on XMP. But if it's meant for the older Ryzen IMCs, then you may have to manually do it like I did. Yeah, I'm gonna have to figure out what numbers work because I couldn't enter the number 3 for some reason. Okay, so now it's just going to run the memory test. So far it's looking good. Compatible with most recent Intel and AMD CPUs. That could mean a number of things. When that RAM came out, it could have been Ryzen 1st gen, it could have been Intel 7th gen. They should have put a generation on there. That just seems lazy to me. Okay, so we're passing at about 33% right now. I want to wait a little longer to make sure that this still works. If we had errors, that bottom half of that window would be filling up. Excuse me. Fucking Kingston, yeah. They're not always very clear. I've been using lots of G-Skill Trident Z, G-Skill Ripjaws, and what else? It's like the Corsair Vengeance. Yeah, you do when it comes to Ryzen. You need to know what speed it is, what it's capable of. It's not like the DDR3 days, because that shit didn't matter, but with Ryzen it matters. Oh, that feels good. Okay. Yeah, it's looking good. So we're going to boot into Windows and we're going to do some benchmarks now. I'm just going to make sure that XFR and all that shit is turned on. JEDEC is like the base speeds up to 2667 megahertz. So basically it's just saying it's guaranteed to work up to those speeds. But it could also only work up to 2133. It depends on the memory. Because yeah, JEDEC is like the unified standards up to 2667 megahertz. So yeah, basically all I'm doing now is just turning PBO on. So we know the RAM works at 3200 CL16. It's not going to be the greatest, but I'll take care of the RAM speeds later. I just don't want to take up an hour on stream trying to figure that shit out, because it gets tedious as hell. I'll save that for another time. Yeah, Kingston's kind of weird. Gonna throw this all in my documents folder. And Geekbench.
I'm gonna wash your face.
Let's just make sure that it's actually running at 3200. Yep, 3200. 12 threads. Oh, hell yeah, bud. I'm just gonna have hardware info running in the background. It's very lightweight, so it shouldn't take up any usage, really. So it's about 21 degrees Celsius in the room, just for base temperature. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a lot of detail. Kingston should get their shit together. The best thing to is look at the motherboard memory list. That can help sometimes. Okay, so we're just running Geekbench right now. We got the latest AMD GPU drivers. Let's see what it does. Yeah, that sounds like a shit show. Oh, hell yeah, more COVID cases in Saskatoon. And Saskatchewan in general, just getting fucking hammered. Okay. Single core score 1289, multi-core 7146. That's pretty good, I think. Okay, let's compare. I haven't done my main desktop on here with Geekbench 5, but let's compare to my 6-core laptop. So 1159 for single core and 4631. That is a 6-core processor, 12 threads. And it doesn't even come close. That's funny. Oh yeah, apparently the Ryzen.
Fake news. It's phony stuff. It didn't happen.
Oh shit! Thank you for the follow, Keko Dance. Apparently the Ryzen memory controller doesn't like odd-numbered cast latencies, so I guess just be aware of that. Okay, so this is the 3600, but I'm looking for 3600X. Okay, that's on an X570 and mine is getting a better score. That's funny. Yeah, so I have a pretty good chip. Because I'm getting 7146. Not bad, not bad. I bet I could improve that with some better RAM. Or like increasing the speed, but hey. Not bad. Cool. Alright, let's do Cinebench. Oh yeah, OpenCL, let's... Yeah, let's give that a go. Yeah, 14. Like you want 3200 CL14, 3600 CL16, or 3733 17. Even though it's not so good with odd numbers for some reason, so I don't get it. Fucking weird. FUCK. Yep. Wow, that was quick. OpenCL. Holy shit. Wow, that's pretty good. Let's go to Vulkan. Because AMD does really well with Vulkan API. Just AMD cards in general are really good for compute usage. That's why they were so hot when it came to crypto mining. Can I send you a link of what I'm looking at so you help me? Yeah? I can try. Yeah, you can post a link in chat and it won't kick you. It shouldn't. Vulcan scores a little less. Alright, let's move on to Cinebench. So we should be able to beat the Ryzen 7 1700X fairly easily. We're going to see how it does. 8GB DDR4, 2400 MHz. Okay, so that memory is guaranteed to work out of the box. Because it's JEDEC standard, you basically pop it in and it'll work. Anything under 2667 is just guaranteed to work, as long as your CPU and your motherboard support it. And if it doesn't, then it'll downclock to the next available speed that it can do. So basically, if you use this memory that you linked to me, you're good. You're fine. You're probably going to want to overclock it in the future, but you don't have to. But can you OC in the BIOS without calc? If you just put in a bunch of numbers, it's not going to work. You pretty much have to use some kind of Ryzen or like DRAM calculator, or get someone to help you that knows, because it's not easy to do that just on your own. I can't figure it out. I need the DRAM calculator. But like with a 3rd gen CPU, the gains to be had from having super high speed memory compared to 2nd and 1st gen Ryzen is not as big. So you're still okay. Yeah, we beat the 1700X. No, what I'm trying to say is, for any speed that's 2667 or lower for DDR4, it'll automatically set the highest speed that your CPU can do. Like, you don't have to set it. It'll just automatically do it. But if the memory is not rated, for higher than 2400, then you'll have to manually overclock it to 2667 or so on. But that memory, the memory that you linked, is just 2400, so it'll do 2400 or lower. It will not do 2667 or higher unless you specifically manually overclock it. $37.51, I got $37.32. So yeah, that's pretty close. It beats the old Ryzen Threadripper 1900. That's hilarious. Okay, so yeah, that's good. Let's plug in a controller. And see how it does here. You ordered 2666? Okay, then that's just gonna run then. You don't need to do anything. If it's 2666, it'll run at 2666 or 2667. I usually run at medium. We're going to turn off the frame rate cap. VSync off. Then we're going to restart the game. We're going to try it out. It's basically just getting rounded up. I don't know, it's weird, man. But the RAM should be 2667. So VSync is off. We're gonna go to just practice versus AI. Oh my god, 260 frames per second. That's pretty good. Oh, fuck. Nice. Killing. Oh, great. Yeah, awesome. How's it going, my dude? I'm using a controller right now. Oh, fuck. Where'd he go? Oh my god. I just would died. And then I died. Yeah, I'm using a controller right now. I'm just testing out the system I built. Oh, fuck. Yeah, rip. How's it going, awesome? Come back here, you slut. You could have booped that junk away. Yeah, it's harder with a controller. Yeah, rip. Yeah, I'm a pro console player now. Look at that, frames per second. It's near 300 consistently. That's with an RX 580. That is not bad. Okay, so I'm just getting into a training, like a game against easy bots. This will be interesting. Yeah, look at this absolute gamer, this fat ass. I remember I was pretty good with someone on controller, but I just can't remember who. You know what, I'll just play Brig. You look great. No, I don't. Who are we kidding? I need to work on myself. Yeah, awesome. Did you see any of the build? This whole machine is just this tiny little box. It's slightly bigger than an Xbox One X would be. You missed it? That's okay. There's still the bud. This is gonna be a great box for the living room, though. It's not even getting very hot. I can feel some heat out the back, but it's not bad. Hard to work on yourself when you're stuck inside. Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to eat as best I can. What happened? Why did it kick me out? What the fuck? Yeah, I'm just trying to eat better. Like, I'm having smaller meals throughout the day rather than really big meals, because when I eat big, I overeat. So what I'm doing is I'm just eating little bits throughout the day. Awesome sauce, just subscribe. What the fuck? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? I really appreciate it, though. Thank you for the sub. Also, congratulations on affiliate, my dude. I'm proud of you. Knew you could do it. I mean, if this gamer can get affiliate, anybody can do it. You're probably gonna have a much better viewer count than me. Yeah, I'm proud of you, my dude. Get your base affiliate, yeah! Okay, I didn't mean to set the bar. I'm bad at phrasing things, okay? I meant for that to be like a wholesome thing, but I fucked it up. Have some health. Hey, gamers. Get out of here, Zarya. Hey, bitch. Playing with a controller, this is fucking crazy. I'm still getting like close to 200 frames. Yeah, I know. I'm bad at picking up on jokes and things. Okay, you know what? Let's turn on VSync. Oh, yeah, bud. Yeah, bud. We got Anzi and Emily. A sub war? What does that mean? What do they do? What is a sub war? Fuck you! You got 12 subs? That's fucking crazy. That's awesome, dude. What other games do you guys want to see benchmarked on here? I was thinking Rise of the Tomb Raider or something. Oh, fuck you. That's a nice, quiet little machine. I don't know, do you? Well, I don't know. I don't know what people want to see. You know? Nice. We did it. We beat the game. We beat the game. There's no more Overwatch. We beat it. Let's check out some highlights. Oh, there are none. Just this one. You know, even at medium settings, this looks pretty good. Exactly, and that's what I've been telling you, my dude. Maybe not those exact words, but you know what I mean. Alright, let's see what else. I do want to play Rise of the Tomb Raider, so... I don't think I finished that one. Or is it Shadow of the Tomb Raider? Is my music dropping out for you guys too, or is it just me? Red Dead Redemption 2? Oh fuck. Shadow's the third one? Yeah, let's download that one. A terabyte of SSD is so nice. Yeah, I'm proud of you, Awesome. You're really starting to come out into your own. And eventually the confidence will come. You'll get there. Just checking my messages to make sure I didn't piss anybody off by forgetting about them. Yeah, do any of you guys in the chat have any tech questions you want to ask me? I can try and answer them to the best of my ability. Because I want to help others so that they can do fun stuff like build their own machines as well. I don't want it to be like this secret society of PC builders that doesn't tell anybody anything. Kind of like how phone repair is. Phone repair is fucking brutal. Okay, that's downloading. Okay, I'm not dropping any frames. We good. So I'm gonna play some Super Hot. It's pretty crazy. I'm streaming all of this, like this multicam setup, from my fucking laptop. Okay, where's my other cam? Laptop cam. Hello. It's actually taking it like a champ. It's good to know that I can use this for random streams like this. The only downside is it doesn't have a built-in Ethernet port, so I have to plug it in with a dongle. But that's not the worst thing ever. I need to set the date and time to Central. I can't set it to dark mode yet because I haven't activated. I'm not showing a fucking Windows key on stream. So I'm gonna do that later. Waiting for it to open any moment now. Hello? Oh, come on, what is taking it? Well, files are validated, so I don't understand. Hello? It just opened and closed immediately. Okay. Well, fuck it, we'll play Sonic Mania. That's a good game. Oh my god, this is not... Oh, so my Elgato is not streaming sound anymore? Yeah, this looks right. This looks perfectly fine. Okay, there we go. Weird how sound's not working. I'm guessing it's probably because the probably because the Elgato. So far, except the memory overclocking didn't work quite right, so I have to take care of that later. I'm not going to spend 3 hours on stream trying to figure that shit out. So I'm just kind of benchmarking and stuff. No, it's not. Not right now, it's not. I guess you could go under science and technology. Alright. That's Tomb Raider, it's almost done. Yeah, I don't care. I'll play Overwatch when I'm ready to. Mentally, I really don't feel like it right now. I'll try VR on it later. I gotta do that whole setup, and it does not play well with the game capture setup. Where did the Overwatch touch me? When Echo was a DPS. But I'll be playing Overwatch. I gotta keep up my master's rank. Yeah, the machine scored pretty well on a Geekbench, so that's good. Just stream from your phone camera, it'll be fine. I'll do VR streams in the future. This machine is capable, so it's just a matter of setting everything up. It's complicated, so we'll get there. Yeah, the build is great. This thing is tiny, and it's pretty beefy. I'm pretty happy with it. Got Plan on Tank. That's cool. Hog's back in a big way. If it was simple, would I even be into it? Probably not. Although I like simple things like Mario games and Sonic and stuff like that. I like the challenge though. Yeah, they gave him more ammo, that's huge. Let's check the temperatures. Okay, it got as hot as 72 degrees C. Over 100 watts. Holy shit. Not bad. So yeah, it's boosting to 4.4 gigahertz. It's perfect. I'm gonna keep that open. Yeah, I really like playing Hog now. Alright, we're gonna try the Shadow of the Tomb Raider benchmark. After this, I'm probably gonna turn the stream off and clean up, because the living room looks like a fucking mess right now, and Sammy will probably kill me, so. Turn off motion blur, because that's bullshit. Alright, here's the benchmark. And I only managed to slice myself once in this whole build. I'm actually pretty amazed. I was expecting to get bit by a wild heatsink. Oh shit, I was mad. Oh shit, I was mad. All the Nintendo Switch scalpers just got yeeted from the local buy and sell group. That's great. $122. Oh, that is pretty. It's not going below 60 so far. That is what I would call fucking nice. Minimum. $63, and the 95% average was 69. Okay, very good. That's great. Let me just move my face out of the way. Yeah, very nice. GPU bound 100%. That's funny. Alright, well, I'm gonna clean up, you guys. Thanks for hanging around in the stream, and awesome, thank you again for the sub. Awesome, and Keko Dance, thank you for the follow. Probably be streaming again relatively soon. But I hope you guys have a great day and a good night, and I will see you around. Hope you enjoyed the stream, and hope you learned something.